Stephen Howson, full-time Devils. Yes, I'm in the rain. Yes, it's coming sideways. I don't know why I'm here either, but there we go. We're going to talk about transfers. The first one that we're going to talk about is Victor Lindelof to Manchester United. I don't remember what I gave it last week. Doesn't matter, because it's basically a 10 out of 10 now, isn't it? And what is the source of that news, I hear you ask, Stephen? Manchester United. Saturday night, United dropped the news that Victor Lindelof had been agreed in terms of the fee with Benfica. Still the players' terms to be agreed, still the medical and still international clearance to be sorted out. Once all that's done, I imagine the transfer goes ahead. Now, I said in the video when that came out on Saturday that this is a bit of a strange one for United to do this, and then everyone pulled up all the different times that Manchester United have done it. So, all right, I'm wrong. Manchester United do it on a regular basis. I just forget. But they have done it where we pulled it out with Ramsey, and it didn't happen. So it's not done yet, but I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. How's that sound? Next up then is Alvaro Morata, the Real Madrid striker. Now the Daily Mirror are saying that United have issued an ultimatum to Real Madrid. 60 million's on the table, take it or leave it, it's up to you. It's a lot of cash. Sky Sports are reporting that Manchester United are confident that a deal can go ahead, and Joe, they're quoting a Spanish radio station that reckons that the deal is already completed. And finally, the one that I actually am paying attention to is Matt Law in the Telegraph, who reckons that Manchester United do think that they're going to get a deal done. They've agreed terms with the player. It's just now negotiating with Real Madrid over the final fee of the player. Now, that's a lot of money for me, 60 million. I mean, I know we don't say, oh, United can pay whatever we want to pay, and we can. But this is Real Madrid's second choice striker, and that is the valuation that Real Madrid put on David De Gea, who is a first choice goalkeeper, one of the best in the world. And people say, oh no, goalkeepers don't go for so much. Why not? They're as a vital part of the team as anybody else. And they're probably even rarer. You can buy strikers many places. Top level goalkeepers are rare, and I think that rarity should force the value of a goalkeeper up. That's just my opinion. In terms of how would he fit, I think he does suit Mourinho's style of play. I think he's a good striker. But I think we need more. If we're going to replace Ibrahimovic, then Morata can kind of replace Ibrahimovic. I'm not sure he's on the same level, but he's got a lot of potential. Now, that doesn't do us enough, because I think we would have been getting a number 9, which I think Morata is, as well as Griezmann. Now, if we get Morata, I think that rules us out getting Belotti, because I think those are two players that was going for the same position. Remember the two listing? I still think that's in play. So if we're not getting Griezmann, that still leaves on the table for me Rodriguez, because otherwise we're only replacing like for like, which wasn't good enough last season. We need more goals in that forward line. Perisic is on that left-hand side, but for me that right-hand side still requires goals, be that with Bale, be that with someone like James Rodriguez, James Rodriguez. We need someone with a bit of flair and a bit of goals on that right-hand side, and then I would be happy. Oh, is he coming to United? Looks likely, doesn't it? Let's go with 8 out of 10. Fabinho. Statman Dave likes this guy. I quite like this guy. Converted from a fullback into a holding midfielder, defensive midfielder. So he's got that defensive mindset right in his position. Now, let's talk about where this one's come from. So it's come from the MEN. We know they're in the shit list with the Metro, but they're building up quotes from elsewhere, trying to make a picture of it. That's what we like them to do. That's journalism. Quoting, collating information rather than just clickbaiting a lot of nonsense. So they built up this little bit of a picture, and it's coming mostly from the continent. But do you know what? There's also been a couple of UK-based journalists sort of like making noises that this is a guy that Manchester United are interested in. Doesn't seem to be much competition in terms of, is there somebody else? Now, there was rumours of Eric Dyer and stuff like that, but Fabinho for me would be a massive improvement. The only question I have is, how does this all fit into a system for Manchester United? Does it mean that we're going to be playing a 2 midfielder system? What does that leave them for Ander Herrera? Because surely Paul Pogba's place is secure. Or does it mean that we're going to a 3-man midfield, which I would really like, which I think would be really good? Or does it mean that we're just fluid and flexible and we'll just throw out whatever we need to against whoever we need to throw it out against? I don't know. For me, Fabinho does seem to be one that's got a little bit of something behind it, but I don't think it's nailed on just yet, so I'm going to go 6 out of 10. Romelu Lukaku. Now, I would absolutely kill for this guy to be at Manchester United, leading the line. I think he's absolutely fantastic, but he does feel like he's going to Chelsea, doesn't it? Unfortunately. All the UK papers and most of the people that you would expect to be in the know around this transfer seem to think that Chelsea is the nailed-on destination for Romelu Lukaku. But the Metro, I know, the Metro have come out and they've got a really crazy, wild theory as to why Manchester United might actually be in the lead for Romelu Lukaku. And that's because they want Chris Smalling and Sergio Romero. Okay, that kind of makes sense that they would want to strengthen that back line and maybe they needed a new goalkeeper. But this isn't video game, man. Swapsies don't happen. This isn't trading cards. This is not your Panini stickers. This is the transfer window. And I think that, for me, it would have been Wayne Rooney going to Everton, if anything. But that doesn't look like it's on the cards too much. I just can't buy it, man. It's the Metro. The Metro could tell me it's Monday. I'm going to check. 3 out of 10. For that whole, no, actually, do you know what? For that whole Smalling and Romero and LUKAKU, no, 1 out of 10. 1 out of 10. Perisic, now there's reports coming out of Italy, and this is in the Express, that they might need to raise some serious cash to meet with financial regulations, which would make sense in terms of how they're holding out for a little bit more cash. But the most detailed one that we can find is Fabrizio Romano, who's come out and said Manchester United have bid 40 million euros, but Inter are holding out for somewhere in the region of 55 to 60 million euros. That's still a pretty decent price, even at the higher end of that, but you can understand what Manchester United don't want to get rinsed. We want a good price for a good player. He's not a superstar, so I think Manchester United are just negotiating a little bit, and this man might drag out for that reason, but it looks like it's going to happen, so I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Mbappe. AS are linking him to everyone. So Real Madrid have been linked, United have been linked, Chelsea have been linked, City have been linked, even Arsenal have thrown a cheeky bid in. I don't know if that's just like, oh yeah, we bid for him and we didn't get him or whatever. I don't know if they're serious. I just think people are making mischief. I think the player is a sellable asset and Monaco want to cash in on that asset. And at the moment, I don't think people really know where he's going to go. For me, this is the sort of thing that ends up at Real Madrid, isn't it? It's the sort of big money signing that they love year on year. So I think he's more likely to go to somewhere like that in Spain, possibly even Paris. But I don't see him coming to Manchester United. So 1 out of 10 for him to go to United. But I reckon he's pretty nailed on to move from where he is right now. Felipe Anderson. Is it 2015, Steve? Yeah, it might as well be, won't it? Because this is one that's been dragged right out of the past. Now, Felipe Anderson, the Lazio player, was on TV last week and he was asked about the link with Manchester United and he said, yes, 2 years ago it was true, they were in for me and I dream of playing for a club like Manchester United. Cue every Nugget journalist in the world deciding that that needs an article. The Sun have jumped on the bandwagon, of course they have, and talking about Felipe Anderson to Manchester United. The funny thing is that we could actually really do with a player of Felipe Anderson's particular set of skills. So it's one that I wouldn't mind happening. I just don't think it's someone that we're looking at right at the moment, so I'm going to give it a 1 out of 10. Kyle Walker. Now, Kyle Walker says in an interview, no indication at all about where I'm going in the future. Cue every helmet journalist, especially in the Metro. This is straight down the Metro's pipe, this one. And they went, Kyle Walker refuses to rule out a move to everywhere. Come on, man. 0 out of 10. That's a load of bollocks. Gelson Martins. Yes, this is another blast from the past. And this is Ojogo. And do you know what? Ojogo, to give them their credit, love getting a quote in the British press, don't they? This is the star that they've hooked on to this one. And they're linking him to Manchester United. And I think this is the scattergun approach by Ojogo. We just link every player who plays in Portugal with Manchester United. And when one of them eventually signs, we go, look at that, we got one right. Never mind them 3,000 we got wrong, we got one right. Not happening, not having it. Again, it's like Felipe Anderson, it's a player that I think Manchester United could do with his particular set of skills, but I don't think it's happening. None out of 10. Angel Di Maria, I'm not entertaining it, I'm not telling you the source. We have been linked, I'm not getting into it, forget it. He's not coming back to this club, the f***ing snake. 9 out of 10. That was the ins, this is the outs, and we're starting with an absolute belter. Ander Herrera to Barcelona, despite already being rejected, in exchange for Jordi Alba. Dumble linked in the Express. Jordi Alba for Ander Herrera. What? No. Is he even their first choice left back anymore? I know Manchester United might need a left back, but over Ander Herrera, a player who Jose Mourinho has come and said one of the most intelligent that he's ever worked with? No, not happening. Get out of here. 0 out of 10. Ander is not going. He's already rejected Barcelona. He's red through and through. He's staying here. So we do have a confirmed out. A couple of months ago, it was rumoured that Zlatan Ibrahimovic wouldn't be signing a new contract with Manchester United, and when he got his injury, that seemed to be more obvious, and eventually the season draws to a close and Zlatan has been given the free transfer as expected from Manchester United. He is now free to go and sign a new contract with anybody he likes in the world. But the story doesn't quite end there, because Zlatan's rumoured to be staying with Manchester United for his rehab. which is a good thing, I think, because he's still a great figure to have in and around Carrington and someone potentially in the dressing room during training that could be of use to some of the young strikers that we've got at the club, particularly as every striker potentially at the club is now going to be a young striker. There is talk that a contract could be on the table for Zlatan Ibrahimovic should his rehab go to plan. Whether he signs that, whether he's actually offered that or not, who knows? I guess we just have to wait and see how that one plays out. So can't really give this one a rating. He's gone, but he might come back. Whatever. Adnan Januzaj, this is by Rob Dawson for ESPN. There's no club mentioned, so you can't really give it a rating for which transfer is going to happen, but it says Manchester United are open to selling Adnan Januzaj after a disappointing loan at Sunderland, which followed on from a disappointing loan at Dortmund, which followed on from a really exciting first season that he had with Manchester United under David Moyes. Now, he's at a bit of a crossroad, Januzaj, isn't he? Because he needs to go somewhere that he's going to get regular game time that's going to challenge him. I don't think he's going to get that at Manchester United, so I do think it's probably going to be best for him if he does move on. So I can really see this one happening, I really can, but obviously there's no indication of a club, so can't really give it a rating. I say just for him to leave the club, 8 out of 10. Chris Smalling is on the list for the outs. This is the Daily Star, and they're linking him with a move to West Ham, Everton and Crystal Palace. Notice it's always 3 clubs when they don't really know what the crack is. 3 clubs, they're just linking with them 3, somewhere in that sort of region. So, and they're linking this on the back of Lindelof being confirmed by Manchester United. It's an easy link for them to make, isn't it? But I think there's also some truth to this. I thought that bringing in another centre-half definitely spelt the end for someone like Smalling or Jones, and it does seem that Jose Mourinho does have a little bit of a thing for Phil Jones, so if he's the one that's getting kept, Smalling's the one going to be out the door now. Can't really give an odds for a transfer to 3 different clubs, but I do think there's a pretty likely chance that Smalling will be leaving Manchester United this window. 6 out of 10. Wayne Rooney. The Star are reporting that his wages are too high for Everton, which makes a lot of sense considering that they've only just offered 100 grand a week to Ross Barkley, and Rooney's rumoured to be on roughly 3 times that. That's a hell of a lot of money, and let's face it, not a lot of return on that sort of investment for a club like Everton, or even a club like Manchester United, let's be honest. So Wayne Rooney's also vowed to come back to training early for Manchester United to prove to Jose Mourinho that he deserves a place at United. Sounds to me like he's been touted around the world, possibly MLS, China, and even in the Premier League, and nobody wants him. So I reckon there's a very good chance that Wayne Rooney's going to be staying. I just don't know what sort of part he's going to play for the club next season. He looked terrible in the Carrick testimonial. I don't want to pour too much gravy on this, but he was playing against players that was retired, and he didn't look much better than them, if any better than them. So Wayne Rooney to go, I think it looks like a 4 out of 10 at the moment. Doesn't look very likely. David De Gea. Now, this one we thought was going to rumble on forever, didn't it? Now, if you go back a couple of years ago, there was no bids from Real Madrid about David De Gea. This is the summer that they actually tried to get him until the last minute. And that's why it all went down to a email file or a fax machine or whatever you want to talk about. It could be the same tactic from Real Madrid. Just wait, no rush. Maybe they've already agreed with a player that it's happening, maybe they've not. But the Express are saying that United have been handed a transfer boost because the Real Madrid players don't want David De Gea. Oh, don't they? Oh, maybe they're just talking nice about one of their current teammates that's just won the Champions League with them. Come on, man. Use your head. If you're standing next to Keylor Navas and you're like, do you think you should sign David De Gea? You'd be like, oh, why would we do that? We've just won the Champions League with this guy. Then when he goes, you're like, yeah, we definitely need to sign David De Gea, I think, yeah. Come on. They're not going to say that. They're not going to throw the mate under the bus, are they? Think about it. David De Gea to Real Madrid. It's looking less likely, but it still looks fairly likely. 5 out of 10. Fact checker of the week then. It was a guy that works over there, actually. Someone in the United Twitter office or in the United media department that have decided that they were just going to cut through all the bullshit and say that this Lindelof one is happening. So there is our fact checker of the week. Someone at United for dropping that and letting everybody know what's going on. Nice one. This is how many players we've been linked to. That keeps going up. That's going to be triple figures by the end of the window, isn't it? Absolutely. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Get any of your links, bullshit, fact checking, anything like that in the description, in the comments, get in below, and I'll see you next week.